Welcome back, and we apologize for a technical hitch we had earlier where we took a break, but now we are back, and we were looking at the CJ Maraga who retired yesterday, and so we will not replay that video, the statements that he made there yesterday, but there is something that I'd like for us to look at in regards to the retirement of CJ Maraga there on page 12 of the Daily Nation, somewhere down there, saying Mwilu earns rare fast as she takes over from Maraga, and while receiving the instruments of authority yesterday, Justice Mwilu pledged to enhance Justice Maraga's legacy, whose tenure was marked by rows between judiciary and the executive. And this is what Mwilu is quoted to have said: "For whatever period that will please God for me to be the acting Chief Justice, I will ensure that we further entrench and build on your legacy, and that the judiciary shall forge ahead and continue with its journey of transformation." Justice Mwilu has performed 2 public assignments as acting CJ, the first being the swearing in of Tia Galgalo and Esther Murungi as members of the National Land Commission. The second was the admission to the bar of 31 advocates at the Supreme Court. However, her service is subject to litigation following a petition filed by rights activist Okia Omutata, arguing that the position is unconstitutional in circumstances where an office holder is retiring upon the expiry of his tenure. And also, there are some cases right now as we speak that Justice Mwilu is facing in the courts, and some of the charges include suspicion of corruption, a failure to pay tax, and improper dealings with Imperial Bank that were later placed under receivership. So we've seen Okia Omutata went to court to challenge that. So let's start from where Justice Mwilu is saying she will go on for the period that God will allow her for her to be the CJ in acting position. She will build on the legacy that has been left by CJ Maraga. I think I'll start with Kidi. Go ahead.
Thank you, Miriam. You know, the position of the law is that the deputy, in the event that the substantive holder of the office vacates the office, then the deputy technically takes over. And I think Justice Maraga did the right thing by handing over to CJ Mwilu, because history has demonstrated that whenever there is a vacancy, especially in the judiciary, sorry for the glitch. It's yes, okay. History has demonstrated that whenever there is a vacancy in the judiciary, especially at the top, it is usually a recipe for a lot of disaster. A case in point is when the late former CJ was vacating office, Justice Evan Gisheru, and then the people of Kenya had enacted chapter 6, I mean not chapter 6, but the 6th schedule of the Constitution, which demanded that all the serving officers, judicial officers, had to be vetted. So while the CJ was out, senior members of the judiciary, senior judges, got opportunity to access their files and clean their files, which effectively, in a way, undermined the process of vetting of judges and magistrates. So that at this point in time, leaving the judiciary without a substantive head would have been a recipe for disaster. Mm-hmm. Yes. Mm-hmm. I don't know if I answered your question. I lost my train of thought.
It's okay. It's okay. Just get yourself together. I'll come back to you on the same. Javen, Justice Mwilu took over yesterday. She has been in acting position, I think, since November there. And she said that she will build on the legacy of CJ, retired CJ now, David Maraga. But as we speak right now, activist Okia Omutata had gone to court to bar Justice Mwilu from assuming office or stop the Judicial Service Commission from appointing her in acting capacity until she is cleared of allegations of corruption and abuse of office, something that obviously the court did not consider, because right now Justice Mwilu has assumed in acting capacity as the Chief Justice of the Republic of Kenya.
Thank you, Miriam. And what we need as a country is to be preparing early enough when the Chief Justice is retiring or when he is vacating office, to be having a mechanism in place in law that will ensure that we have a smooth transition where we'll get not an acting, but a Chief Justice in full capacity will continue the work without all these push and pull that you are seeing in the judiciary. And on the issue of DCJ, Philomena Mwilu, he has been accused of many corruption cases, and he is in the cases in proceeding in the court. Therefore, he was not the right person at this point, because in the judiciary we need a person who will be the most clean when it comes to matter of in the following of the law and abiding to the laws of this country, so that we get a person who will be able to set as an example of how people should abide in terms of law, and even in how they behave in public eye and how they carry themselves. And I think that is something that is not well. And I think the court should listen to the activists who have taken their plea in the court, so that maybe in future we avoid going to such kind of circumstances. And her saying that you will rebuild on the legacy of the outgoing Chief Justice David Maraga, I would like to know which part of the legacy, because we have seen a lot of disagreement and a lot of misunderstanding between the judiciary and the executive. Therefore, I don't hope that is the legacy he wants to build on. I think the best he can do is to bring a conducive working relationship between the judiciary and the custodian of the constitution and the executive arm of the government, so that we have a smooth running of the government and all arms of the government to work in coordination. Because we have seen a judiciary, I don't know whether it's because of the power that they have been given through the Constitution 2010, that they feel like they are superior than any other body in this country or arm of the government. That is why sometimes David Maraga was behaving in a manner that suggests maybe he thought he was more superior than the president or something of the sort, because he was a man who has lamented the most. And Miriam, on that issue, he even forgot that he has a duty to serve the Kenyans who expect him to do much in terms of unblogging the backlogs in our courts, streamlining the working of courts and so on. Therefore, I hope she will come with something alternative means, especially when it comes to matter rebuilding the legacy of David Maraga.
Okay, thank you so much. So Mwilu was arraigned in court in 2018, charged and released upon the execution of a personal bond of 5 million Kenya shillings. Chief Magistrate Lawrence Mugambi postponed a plea hearing until the following day, and the Judicial Service Commission faulted Mwilu and her team of allegedly manipulating the rules and employing delaying tactics in order to hamper court proceedings, seeking her removal. Douglas, when now acting Chief Justice Mwilu, Philomena Mwilu, there comes and says that she will be building on the legacy of the former Chief Justice David Maraga, and Jevan there has asked which part of that legacy she planning to build on, and perhaps what shall we be expecting from Mwilu, seeing that she's facing all these hurdles in the courts that she will be heading. What is likely to happen in our Kenya judiciary?
Thank you, Miriam, and I want to also commend Jevan is such a brilliant man. That was my next question, which is a very rhetorical question. Which legacy? DCJ Mwilu is a tainted a personality, and also DCJ Mwilu has come out as one of the defenders of corruption at judiciary, and also herself has a case, and she was arrested and she was taken to court, and also she left with, as you have read, it's in public domain, with a bill with a board of 5 million shillings. Number one, David Kenani Maraga leaves a legacy of asking for a Mercedes-Benz and also full presidential powers like President Uhuru Kenyatta. Chief Justice David Maraga leaves a legacy of lamenting every morning and every afternoon and evening concerning the judiciary and all that. David Maraga leaves a legacy of where many corrupt individuals have been able to permit across our nation, and also the plunderers of our nation are walking free, including is Deputy DCJ Muiru. This our retired Chief Justice David Kenani Maraga leaves a legacy of helping and also making sure that he has been able to assist corruption and also uphold corruption at judiciary and beyond. The President of the Republic of Kenya, President Uhuru Kenyatta, refused to approve and also approve the 41 judges who had corruption cases with them and also who attended according to a report that was tabled to President by NIS. David Maraga leaves a legacy where judges have been able to stifle justice for the poor people. We have seen so many people who are languishing in prisons, and also where the big fish are working, including the Deputy DCJ Muiru, who wants to continue the legacy of protecting herself and also corrupting people across the nation. DCJ Muiru wants to continue the legacy of asking for more presidential powers, because as even the Chief Justice was putting it, we are equal arms of government and also parts of the executive. He thought that is the President of the Republic of Kenya with the full presidential powers. That is what the Deputy Chief Justice and also who is also the Acting Chief Justice is continuing to do. Miriam, we read in newspapers a couple of months ago that last year that DCJ Muiru's lawyer was saying due to his old age, Dr. Minwa, that he cannot be able to go to court. And whereas we have no shortage of lawyers in Nairobi, we have a very brilliant lawyer in Nairobi, based in Nairobi, Mr. Kidi Mwaga. He would have represented the DCJ. Why is the old man being subjected to COVID and also the pandemic and also the health conditions? If he is sick and also tired, Kidi, I respect you, but when you get old, you can't represent me in court, man. But at the end of the day, is that the legacy that the DCJ wants to continue building on? Remember, judiciary has been a crybaby. The elder from the SDA Church, who has fashioned himself as the man after God's heart, even judiciary was mentioning God, the way God has protected him. God has not protected David Maraga from stifling justice to the people of Kenya. DCJ Muiru could be able to continue helping corruption suspects like ourselves and also money launderers like ourselves escape justice, but it is not for too long. Kenyans should be able to get the truth of the matter. The truth of the matter is the Chief Justice, DCJ Muiru, who are also members of Judicial Service Commission, if I'm not wrong, have stifled this process of appointing the next Chief Justice since September, if I'm not wrong, Miriam. They have stopped the judiciary from appointing an alternative Chief Justice so that we can continue the legacy of corruption, plundering of public resources, and also helping the big fish escape justice while the poor people continue languishing in our prisons. I asked the Acting Chief Justice to continue this case against herself so that she can be able to resign and go to prison for her cases, and also so that other people, big fish, can go to prison, and so that poor people can be released from prisons. They can go back to their villages, to their cities and towns, so that they can continue building the nation, Miriam. Because most of these people who are being held in industrial area, in Kamiti Maximum Prison, in Kingongo, in Tonto, in Meru, all these people who are in prisons across the nation, some of them are poor people who cannot afford, who are petty offenders. We need the prison space and new mattresses for the big fish, including the services to be improved at the prison services for the DCJ Muiru herself, because she is so corrupt. There is no way, if your case does not hold a lot of tight evidence, Kidi as a lawyer can tell us. There is no way a judge can slam you with a 5 million board without looking at your case and also the weight of that case. She has been able to abuse office, and also this the former CJ, David Kenani Maraga, the son of Maraga, abused office when he continued not pressuring the DCJ into resigning. If David Maraga was a man of integrity, the way he claims and also wants us to see, he would have, the man from Nyamira, would have helped us to sack the DCJ Muiru and also send her home. She should have resigned and also stepped aside. But she has continued a judiciary stifling justice because herself is a corruption suspect I submit, and I don't see any legacy. She's going to continue in the positive side. There are only negatives, and that is not the judiciary that I want to bequeath my next generation or my generation myself.
All right, so since the first petition, which was filed in 2018, no conclusive judgment has been pronounced. Yes, you will come in, Professor, just a moment. Something that has seemingly further frustrated the JSC. When the case was taken up by the JSC earlier, her team further pushed for physical meetings instead of virtual meetings, arguing that the virtual meetings were rushed and did not respect the rules of the natural justice. And Douglas had just brought up at that point there, her team, her legal team was pushing for physical meetings, and her lead counsel, that is Haminur, what's the right title for him? A senior counsel Haminur, they said due to his age, he cannot appear physically to represent DCJ Mwilu because he is because of COVID-19, and because of his age, he is highly, he could get that. So it was not right for him to appear, but still he was pushing for physical, hearing there. So Omutata said there are 4 petitions. Remember, Omutata went to court to challenge DCJ from being given the position as the acting Chief Justice because he said she has 4 petitions pending before JSC. Touching on the conduct of Chief Justice Mwilu, he said the accusations against her are grave as they touch on corruption and abuse of office. According to Omutata, the Director of Public Prosecutions and the Director of Criminal Investigations claim in their petition that Justice Mwilu is unfit for public office as she was involved in the irregular sale and acquisition of property, including obtaining the execution of a security by false pretense. The DPP and DCI also want her removed from office for failure to pay taxes to the Kenya Revenue Authority, a forgery, and uttering a false document. A 5-judge bench declared the probing Mwilu's accounts and transactions with Imperial Bank was a breach of her privacy. Professor, if you are anybody heading the judiciary in any jurisdiction across the world, one of the key requirements is that you should be beyond reproach. But in this case, Justice Mwilu seems to be tainted. So what kind of justice is this?
I wish Kid is listening to what I'm about to say. Miriam, there is no need for us to have Chapter 6 of the Kenyan Constitution on leadership and integrity. The fact that someone alleges that you seem to be corrupt, if we were in a country guided by rule of law, you step aside, clear your name, come back. What is so difficult in that? What's so difficult in that? The judicial system in Kenya, Miriam, the criminal justice in Kenya, Miriam, is only there to harass the common man. Any person who has stolen from this country and is a rich person, Miriam, what will you see? You will see a battery, not a battle of lawyers. Not 1, not 2. They can be even up to 50. What do you want to achieve, Gidi? That you go to protect an individual? You saw them, the senior counsel, all of them, the Orengos, the Mogenis, and all of them, they were there to defend that lady. What are you telling the people? A society, Miriam, which does not treat its people fairly, it is a matter of time. I didn't like what happened in the Capitol Hill in the United States of America. But a statement was said, and it was stated, that if people are unhappy, they can come and invade those courts, and even that parliament, and even that state house, when people are annoyed. We can't make a law to only punish the common man, simply because they cannot be able to afford a pattern of lawyers, Miriam. The fact that Miriam, I am not saying that she's guilty. She has to be subjected, Miriam. And that's why, Miriam, I become a proponent of PPI. Because we are coming with a framework, Miriam, of time, that within 2 years, Miriam, if it has been arranged that this and this has happened, we are able to say that you are innocent, you are innocent, or you are guilty, we send you to committee. But Miriam, here is the situation that people are protecting the Deputy Chief Justice from being tried. Yes, the Chief Justice, the Director for Criminal Investigation may have not had authority to go to invade her privacy, but it has not changed that this lady committed a crime. So people who believe in rule of law, they will say, Miriam, that let it proper investigation be done in accordance with the law. But what you see is now the acting Chief Justice, Miriam, a very sad thing for the people of Kenya. So the Kenyan people have to decide, and this is where, Miriam, we have to have a conversation. Even those ones who are fighting BBI, it is because on chapter 6, because, Miriam, they don't want their integrity to be touched, and you want to be a leader of people. So, Miriam, on this one, there is a total departure, like day and night, kiddie. That it is a sad thing, a mockery. And I will hate, Miriam, that the future generation, Miriam, will come to say that I lived in this time that I did nothing. I pray at least Mtata is trying to do something. So let me just leave to the conscience of the Deputy Chief Justice and the people of Kenya, because he doesn't have any. That is a holy. You will not go, Miriam, to the tabernacle to offer the sacrifice when you are sinner. You must repent your sins. So, Miriam, now, suppose now we complain over somebody else, and the case goes to the Deputy Chief Justice, what will happen? Will he preside over it? Will he be able to give direction? We should not have double standards. That's one of the worst things that our former Chief Justice did to the people of this country, and the history will deal with him accordingly. I wish him nice time stay in his retirement age. But Miriam, from where I sit, Mena Mwena does not qualify to act as the Chief Justice of Kenya. I submit.
All right. Very well. Thank you so much, Kidi Morga. Thank you, Javen Karanja. Thank you, Douglas. And of course, thank you, Professor Jared Onyari. We shall take a short break, and then we shall return here at 11 a.m. with Diplomatic Clicks, where we shall be looking at I'm not sure if I have the topic yet, but we shall be back here to look at the role of opposition in Africa. All right. And so in the story that we've been reading on page 12 of the Daily Nation, and at exactly 11:01 a.m. yesterday, Justice Maraga removed his robes, assisted by his former clerk, Fidelis Simiyu. He handed over government assets that were in his possession to Chief Registrar Ann Amadi, including the official car and national flag and number plate, plated at CJ1, and that marked the end of the tenure of now former Chief Justice David Maraga. Thank you so much. This has been Good Morning Africa. My name is Miriam Ogutu. I'll see you at 11. Bye-bye for now.